Welcome. I'm Paul Oyer, Senior Associate Dean, and I oversee the MBA and the MSX program, so I get the honor of starting this process off. Actually, usually the honor goes to the Dean. The Dean is busier than he used to be these days, so you're getting me instead. Anyway, it's a great day. I know John would actually love to be here. We all love this because it's a great time to celebrate the fact that a lot of people on the faculty put a great deal of effort and successfully into their teaching, and so I'm really happy to be a part of celebrating that. We've all had so many great teachers who've impacted us in the way that we're going to celebrate today, and the amount of energy that goes into teaching at the GSB overall is you'd be very impressed and surprised. And I think, the fact that these two stand out even among the very great competition here is very impressive. So I'm very happy to be here to celebrate them. We're trying something new this year. We've realized over time that teaching electives and teaching core classes are very different experiences on both sides of the classroom, I would say. And we want to recognize people who've really thought carefully about how to do each of those things. So we're going to have two winners this year, one who teaches a core class and one who's focused on electives. So let me just end by thanking the MBA SA Academic Committee. The Academic Committee has been working with us all quarter and back into winter to think about how to do this, and they have been incredibly diligent about getting input and casting a wide net. So thank you to the whole committee, and especially to the group within the award selection committee for their efforts. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Mira and let the students take it from here. Thanks.
Thank you, Dean Oyer. And thank you all for joining us for the 2024 Distinguished Teaching Award ceremony. For many of us, this is 17th or 18th grade. According to some back of the envelope calculations, collectively, each of us has probably spent over 10,000 hours in a classroom. In that time, we've had a lot of teachers. We've seen every type of teaching imaginable, the good, the not so good, and the extraordinary. In case it wasn't clear, we're here today to celebrate that last category. They say it takes over 10,000 hours to become an expert in something. Some might say we are an expert at being students at this point. As such, I'd like to think that we know what it takes to recognize some truly exceptional teaching. These are the teachers that helped us get to the GSB, those that believed in us when we didn't even believe in ourselves, those at the GSB who we woke up at 8 a.m. for and got a cup of coffee and slugged to class, those that make dry topics interesting and complex topics easy. Those that go above and beyond, and they don't just teach us, but they inspire us. And at the risk of sounding cliche, those that inspire us to change lives, change organizations, and change the world. Today, we're here to celebrate that level of extraordinary teaching. And for over 40 years, we've awarded this award. It's the highest honor that MBA students award to faculty. And we hope that our two recipients today understand the impact and thought and love that went behind these nominations. And with that, I will hand it over to Ian to introduce the award.
Thank you, everyone. I have the privilege of walking through the selection criteria, so bear with me. So each year, there's the MBA Academic Committee, which I'm on, picks a selection committee, which is an anonymous group of students to help receive nominations and parse them in order to decide who the winner is. And so we'd like to thank Ashley Yang and Kristen Karras, who helped organize this process, as well as Dean Oyer and Dean Hayes, that helped answer questions and facilitate this over the course of the last quarter. And so there's three criteria for the selection committee. The first is excellence in in-class instruction. The second is dedication to students outside the classroom. And the third is their overall commitment to the GSB and the GSB's values. And I guess I should say this is our selection committee's criteria. It can change, so it's not a strict rubric. And in the past, as we said, it's been reserved for a single professor but this year we've awarded it to 2 folks. And so this year, in terms of the stats, so we received 123 nominations from 55 different teachers, and we were touched by the thoughtfulness and care that went into a lot of these recommendations. And so we thank people in this room and outside for doing that. And in addition to the 2 professors, we're going to be thoughtful about highlighting the folks that didn't win, kind of what students said about them. And so we'll do that as well. All right, and so with that, please join us in celebrating Ed deHaan and Graham Weaver as this year's recipients, and Maisie will come up to introduce Ed. So thank you.
Today, we honor a professor who has transformed a core curriculum class into the highlight of many of our MBA 1 experiences. That professor is none other than Ed deHaan. Ed doesn't just teach any class, he teaches base accounting. And most of us didn't come to the GSB expecting to be excited about balance sheets, income statements, and LIFO versus FIFO. But Ed took a subject that is known for its complexity, dryness, and did the impossible. He made it enriching, engaging, and fun. Many students, myself included, left Ed's class eager to take more accounting classes. What sets Ed apart? As a nominator said, Ed is extremely knowledgeable and teaches one of the most practical classes in an extremely effective way. That is, it's his ability to make accounting not just understandable, but exciting and relevant. He convinced all of us who took his class of the importance of accounting and showed us the many ways we would use what we had learned in our futures. This is no small feat in a program where students come from diverse backgrounds, some with limited or no exposure to or interest in accounting beforehand. Ed's practical and effective teaching approach ensures that every student, regardless of their prior knowledge, has a robust ability to navigate financial statements and understand complex accounting principles. A student wrote about how they now have a strong intuition for accounting principles and an ability to meaningfully read financial statements. His class was referred to commonly as one of the best of the core, and some may say that it's a miracle akin to making tax season the most wonderful time of year. Ed's class goes beyond accounting, though. He taught us how to think critically about finance in a way that will guide us through our careers. 2 quarters later, students describe continually drawing on concepts and referring back to slides from Ed's class. Moreover, Ed's dedication to student success is evident not only in his structured and insightful lectures, but also in his accessibility and willingness to go the extra mile for his students. He is known for being approachable and invested in students' academic and professional growth. I want to say thank you to Ed deHaan on behalf of all of my classmates for fundamentally changing how we see accounting and imbuing it with an importance that we could not have imagined. The benefit of this is still unknown to us, but will undoubtedly pay dividends far into the future, and we can now account for those. Perhaps most evident of Ed's influence is the fact that a student made a t-shirt with his face on it to wear to the final. And while we know that the Distinguished Teaching Award may not be near this level of honor, we hope that Ed is still glad to receive it. For all of these reasons and many more, it is our great honor to recognize Professor Ed deHaan as one of this year's Distinguished Teaching Award winners.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, so thank you. I mean, I am truly, truly honored to get this award. I also really have to thank the students in the class. I mean, the class is only as successful as the effort that students are willing to put into it. And my class was hard this year, and the students absolutely brought it. And the performance, the scores were the highest I've ever seen. Someone got a perfect score in my class. And that's 16 years I've been teaching, I've never seen it. So thank you to the students. Also, thank you to some of my accounting colleagues who are here. I just teach the latest rendition of a course that has been perfected at the GSB for, I don't know, many, many decades. I inherited it 10 years ago from Anne, who I think inherited it from Ron, who are both sitting over here. So they deserve thank you as well. So it was just yesterday that it dawned on me that I'm supposed to say something here. And 5 minutes with an open mic, I will definitely not give up that opportunity. So I asked my colleagues, I asked one of them, what should I say? And they said, well, say something smart. And I asked another colleague, and they said, really say something meaningful. That's not useful. And I asked my partner last night, and she said, well, this is an accounting award, so you should probably teach them accounting. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to. Now, I know 10 days before summer, nobody wants to learn more accounting. But actually, this talk just made me realize what I want to talk about, this introduction here. So it's this concept of type 1 and type 2 fun. You might be familiar with this term, right? So type 1 fun is fun in real time. Drinking beer at Alpine Inn on Saturday afternoon, that's fun, and you enjoy it. Type 2 fun is a misnomer because it's not fun in real time. Something like training for a marathon on your Saturday afternoon. You didn't think you were going to like it, you hated it while you were doing it, but after the fact, those bad memories fade, and what you're left with is the good experience from doing it. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I really designed my class to be type 2 fun, or type 2 experience. There are some moments in real time which maybe the students enjoyed. We have this fun case at the end of the quarter where it turns out somebody runs off to China with $200 million, and that's a lot of fun. But what's not fun in real time is like learning finance and operating leases, or digging through investments, or in week 3, I gave them this huge project, and 12 hours into it, no one was having fun, I guarantee. So it's hugely rewarding for me to hear that 5-6 months later, the pain has faded, or at least been overwhelmed by the positive things in the class. That means so much to me. But what I really hope is 5-10 years from now, when my students are all in their professional careers and doing well, they look back and realize it was an even more of a type 2 experience. Like, you won't remember the details of accounting for operating leases and financing leases, but maybe the principles and the language that we learned is still there. Okay, so I will teach you something. You didn't ask to be taught anything, but maybe this is just more advice than anything else. I think that going through life, we have to remember these type 2 experiences. Remember things like the accounting class, which last August, no one was looking forward to doing, and maybe left to their own devices, no one would have taken it. In real time, might have been difficult, but was worthwhile after the fact. And in grad school, it's easy to find those things because we've got a whole structure in place to tell you about which courses, for example, are going to be challenging but rewarding. But once you leave these walls, no one's there to tell you these things anymore. So we have to actively seek out type 2 experiences, which by definition are hard to find because they don't sound fun ex ante or in advance. So the advice I have for this is the advice I give in many things. Find good mentors. Find people who are a few steps further down the path that you want to be on. Ask them to look back on what they've done to find those experiences which they didn't look forward to, but have really shaped who they are. Seek those things and put as much effort into those as you do into drinking beer at the Alpine Inn on a Saturday afternoon. And after the fact, if they've been rewarding, pay it forward to the next generation. So that's my last lesson. Please keep in touch. I want to hear how those careers are going in 5 to 10 years.
Thank you, Ed. And I'd like to invite David to the stage to give this speech in honor of Graham.
In the last week, I've been ambushed by over a dozen MBA 1s seeking advice on how to pick their super round classes. They've been lost, they've been confused, and they've wanted guidance on what to rank first. Like our Distinguished Teaching Award winner has done countless times in his famous life hacks lunch sessions, I offered the answer, which was simply choose Graham Weaver's Managing Growing Enterprises class. Graham has not only raised the bar for all GSB classes, but it has become a staple of our community in ways that extend far beyond the classroom. From hosting wellness club lunch sessions to giving advice to searchers and investors, Graham's principles have really ingrained themselves in the fabric of GSB culture. I was lucky enough to take Graham's class last quarter. It cost me my first super round slot, so naturally I came in skeptical. Could this class really live up to the hype? And week by week, role play after role play, Graham proved why his class is always one of the most in demand at the GSB. He meticulously prepares for every session. He meets in small groups with the students. He replies to every single email. He takes 19 round trips from San Francisco to make it down here, and he does this all while running a multi-billion-dollar private equity fund. I've gained far more than just the class content from Graham's class. I've seen firsthand the rigor and the dedication he brings to the way he carries himself every day, and truthfully, that's what I'm going to remember 10 years from now. It was the best class I've ever taken, hands down. But don't just take it from me. Here are the testimonials from other students who have nominated him for this award, and I quote, "Just exceptional as a teacher, no other commentary needed. Graham invests an extraordinary amount of time and emotional energy into his classes. It's rare to see someone so invested in their students' development in and out of the classroom. Dreamweaver is the most inspiring person I've met at the GSB, and the competition is fierce. No exaggeration, Graham has helped me become a happier person. Graham's a mentor of mine who has completely changed my trajectory post-GSB. He inspires a winning mindset in his students and embodies GSB's core values like nobody else. And lastly, Graham has single-handedly given me the most transformative learning and personal development at my time at the GSB. In summary, Graham is a world-class teacher, but he's much more than that. He's a cornerstone of the GSB experience. He's become a role model of mine because most of all, he teaches and he cares for his students from the heart. So Graham, we're so lucky to have you. Please give it up, everybody, for the winner of our Distinguished Teaching Award, Graham Weaver.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, that was amazing. Thank you, David. That was incredible. So my journey of teaching started 22 years ago. Irv Grossbeck and Janet Feldstein wrote a case about me. And it was a case of me that started when I was 25 years old, and I was buying companies in my dorm room at Stanford GSB. And spoiler alert, everything goes wrong, everything. And I've now that I teach a class, I realize that in every quarter, there's a token failure case. And I realize now, upon reflection, that was the role that I played in the curriculum, because everything in my company went wrong at the time. I made management mistakes. I hired the wrong leaders, and by the way, lost money on 3 of the 4 investments that were featured in the case. So, but what's interesting is, the first time I taught the case, in front of students, I think I was 28. I bombed, like the kind of thing where a comedian comes up and they talk and sometimes they nail it and everyone's excited, or there's crickets. It was the second one. It was not good by any stretch. That's not false humility. It just wasn't good. So then I went to lunch with the students, and there were about 8 students at lunch, and I realized they didn't really want to hear about the X's and O's of hiring a management team or leadership or why I made this investment. What they really wanted to talk about was how I overcame the fear of failure to start a company, and what that process was like. And that I actually had to share with them. And then they also wanted to understand, now that my worst case scenario, the failure, had actually materialized, how bad was it? And the answer was, it wasn't as bad as you make it out in your mind. And that experience, I realized I actually could help students. Even though I didn't have a lot of success at that time, because a lot of the failure cases, they're 30 years out and then they have a lot to say subsequent. And me, I just had the failure. But what I realized was that experience would be really the cornerstone of my teaching philosophy, which is that students definitely want to know the X's and O's of building a company and leadership. And my courses that I have taught here, Managerial Skills, Managing Growing Enterprises, they cover those things. They cover hiring and firing and difficult conversations. But what students really want and what they really need is help on this journey on their life and the personal growth that goes with that. And that's the thing that I have a lot of energy for. I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins, as some of you know. He's maybe the godfather of executive coaching, which I'm also a big fan of. And he says people will hire him to teach them success, but what they really need is fulfillment. And I look at teaching here very much like that. I get paid by the university to teach, which is incredible that I get paid to do this, but I do. I get paid to teach the X's and O's of building a business. But what students really need is they need help on this journey. They need to find out who they are. You all need to find out who you are at your best versions of yourselves. And you need to find out deep down what your real dream is. And then you need to find out what's getting in the way of that, and where are your fears and doubts and limiting beliefs, and what's scaring you about that might hold you and keep you from doing that. And then we need to conquer those and make a plan to go live your dream and become the best version of yourself. And that's why I show up. That's why I commute down here from Marin 20 times a year. Isaac Newton said that if I've seen further than others, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants, and I have stood on some absolute giants' shoulders. So just a few people to call out. So the people who taught my case in the early years in MGE, I learned so much. So that was Irv Grousbeck, Dick Allen, Joel Peterson, Kevin Toohill, Jim Ellis, and Peter Kelly, and David Dodson. So that was amazing. That was 12 years where they invited me to come before the success part of the case had been written. David Dodson, I want a special shout out. I co-taught with David for 4 years. And the very first time when I was going to meet David to talk about teaching with him, he's sitting at this table, and I walked up to shake his hand, and I said something about, I'm excited to give back to the students. And he said, yeah, you might be giving back, but this, you can't think about it like this. This is a gift. There's 100 people that would die for this job. You have to wake up every day and treat this like it's a gift. And I was like, yeah, David, nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to teaching together. But that definitely stuck with me. And of course, Irv Grousbeck, who wrote the initial case on me and was the one who tapped me to be a teacher, and has just, for many, many, many hundreds of students, been the voice telling you that you can and making you feel like you're the most important person in the room. I want to thank my partners at Alpine, because the day that I told them that I was invited to teach and told them it was going to be a big distraction, they didn't blink and they didn't hesitate. They just knew how much energy I had, and they covered the slack while I'm here for the quarter, which I wouldn't be able to do without them. And my family, who's here, some of them, they put up with my many nights and weekends, because that's what it looks like when you have 2 full-time jobs. And they also are guinea pigs for all of the exercises that I put many of you through. So they know their dreams and genie goals and limiting beliefs. And most of all, I want to thank all of you students. Teaching a group of people, you throw yourself into this with so much energy and vulnerability, and you try out role plays and share your goals and walk through your limiting beliefs and really put yourself out there. And it's really clear to me that you all want to actually make a big difference in this world, and I get to be a small part of that. So this is maybe the most meaningful award that I've ever received. Sorry. It means more than you'll ever know. And David was right. Teaching here really is a gift. So thank you.